Hi, and welcome to episode 2 of Crazy Conscious Relationships. Side note, we call them episodes because we do have episodes sometimes where we just kind of lose our minds and go into frenzy. So there's a reason that they're called episodes, not because that's the conventional thing to call it.
Yeah, and by we having episodes, it's usually pointing more this way that one of us, and it's not this one, has episodes. So yeah, so welcome to the episode that we can now call it an episode though, and it seems like we're just talking about legit, right? Doesn't take into account the 55 voices in my head, so
right.
Stuff like that, which we may be up to 60 by now with the quarantine, but.
Right. Well, at least that gives you a little more socialization because right now there's a lack of that, and it's tough to. It's been a hard week. It's been a sucky week. Trying to keep it clean for the kids, but yeah, sucky's the best I can do right now. It's week 3 for us here in Alabama, so we officially hit the 3rd week this week since things started shutting down. Like I've been out of work, so. It was just a hard week for me personally, and we were just having this conversation about how it seems we can be more real these days. Apparently, I've been on multiple calls where there's been crying and things like that, so it's not just about being upbeat all the time, although I'm trying to keep my head above water, but sometimes I feel like I'm drowning.
Yeah, I get that too, because it's, I don't know, for whatever reason, some of us, myself included, feel like you have to put on a show, masquerade how you're feeling, when you're going to work, when you're dealing with your friends, when you're dealing with your partner, sometimes you feel like you want to put on more of a brave face, or maybe you don't want to show some of that vulnerability. But yeah, maybe as a society, we've been given a little more permission to be more vulnerable, but I don't know if that's going to sustain once this is all said and done. Are we all going to go back to being more rigid and hardened? Or is this going to be the new normal where you let people see a little bit more of what impacts you on a daily basis?
Yeah, like for me, I'm usually, for the public, pretty upbeat. And most of the time I'm a pretty upbeat person, but I've had some down days this week, and I had a friend of mine post about how she was having a tough day, and so out of my normal pattern would be to just try to cheer her up. I was like, yeah, I'm struggling too. I'm just following this to see how anybody else can cheer me up. I was having that kind of day, but that is so rare for me. So I wonder about this. So these conditions were kind of, it feels like it's a little this container we've been put in, literally and figuratively. What is the pressure cooker feeling for me? What happens and how we may change patterns that we would have normally had in the past. Like for me, I'm not outside of close family. I don't share negative side of myself. I just keep that all to myself. But now I'm feeling the need to just be like, oh yeah, it's not all roses and candy. It sucks to be in this situation.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I know for me, my personality is usually pretty up, pretty happy. There's always at least a smile on my face kind of thing, telling jokes, not taking life too serious. And I always feel like maybe if I'm not that upbeat person, that someone's like, oh my God, are you okay? What's wrong? And so for me, it's nice to be able to actually, might sound strange, it's nice for me to actually not have those questions, because now people understand why you're down. People start to look and go, oh yeah, we're all feeling the effects of this. The energy's tough. So a lot of people aren't working. So there's a lot of just uncertainty in the world right now. A lot of almost a heavy sadness on a lot of us in the world. So if I have a down day, for me selfishly, I don't feel like now I have to justify it as much, which for me is nice, because a lot of times I do feel like, well, here's why I'm sad, or I'm not, just because you're not always up and making jokes and things like that doesn't mean you're ready to go jump off a bridge. It just means sometimes you just need a little quiet, introspective time. And now I feel like there's a permission from society now to give those of us that are usually yeah, look at me, I'm doing this. Now we can be a little quieter and people go, oh, okay, I get it. So it actually, that has been somewhat helpful for me, which, like I said, may sound strange, but I find myself being like, okay, I can be more vulnerable, not just with Tanya. I can be more vulnerable in my daily life, in the grocery store. I'm still going to work every day, at work, because it takes its toll on people just having to live in this new reality that we now have as our normal life.
Right. I think for me, it's been more of really needing to reach out, because Andrew's always here for me, and I can always talk to him about anything that's going on, but reaching out to other people too and saying, hey, I'm struggling too, is may not seem that way on the surface because I'm doing some online classes and things like that. But it is very difficult some days to just get up, because I don't have a routine anymore. I don't have my schedule that I just kind of follow and stick to, and show up at the gym no matter what, and show up at the studio no matter what, no matter how I'm feeling. And then once I'm there and I get started, everything is good. Here it's just, okay, I don't really feel like getting up today, or I don't feel up for doing a lot of things. So, but I think the interesting part about this from the spiritual side, or the consciousness side of things, is the fact that we are all really feeling connected as human beings. So emotionally, a lot of us are, maybe at different times, but we're all feeling this sadness, this feeling of like uncertainty and sadness, and it's all very human, and we all feel these emotions anytime anyway, but now we're actually having this as a collective experience, and it's not only within a certain region, it's worldwide. So it's very interesting to me that we can really embrace the concept that we are all connected, truly connected, even though ironically we're having to social distance. So it's a very interesting dichotomy to me, to have both of those things happening at the same time.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you think, I don't know. I don't know. I struggle. Usually words aren't something that escape me very often. I like, Tanya will tell you more often than not, I'll say in 1,000 words what could have easily been said in like 4 words, just because I like words. But it's just one of those things now that when you talk to people, you can sense their heaviness, you can sense their sadness, their plight. And I feel like they can sense mine. So like when we go walk in the park and things like that, and you see people out with their dogs, usually we'll run over and pet dogs, or they'll come over and pet our dogs if we're out with ours. And now it's like, oh, hi. But everybody seems to have this, in my opinion, I've seen, there seems to be more of that. They recognize you, they see you. When you're out, it's like, okay. It's no longer, where are you from, what do you do, all that. It's more like, okay, that's a fellow human walking by. They're dealing with the same thing I'm dealing with, and it's just good to see that they're out and about. And that, for me, makes it resonates with me, and it just feels more real.
Yeah, it is very, very interesting. Obviously, there's not a lot of people out and about, but when you do go out, it's definitely a feeling of, it's nice to see another human out. It's very apocalyptic feeling to me. We're huge fans of The Walking Dead, and it just feels like that apocalypse. And anybody who's watched any of those type of things, it has that sense about it. But there is a collective consciousness that's happening right now, and I feel on the positive side that we could benefit from that, as tapping into that we're all human. And like I said, I'm a yoga teacher, so we say namaste, the light within me sees and honors the light within you. And we can see, the more we can see other people as ourselves, as humans, beneath ego and all of those things, the more we can truly connect with each other, and then ultimately with spirit, or with the universe, or whatever you choose to call it. So for me, there is a path here to higher consciousness. It's a strange detour, and it's not one that we would think we would take, but here we are. And so I guess for those of us who are trying to live a more conscious life, being aware of that, like, yeah, there's a lot of humanness happening, but there's also an avenue or a path that can be seen beyond the immediate crisis that we're in.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. We're going to talk more about, I think next time when we do an episode now just makes me laugh, and a lot of people are like, why is that funny? Because I have them all the time. But in our next episode, what we're really going to talk about is defining what is essential versus non-essential businesses. It's put a lot of things in perspective for us just in life, looking at what now we're having to decide. Is this essential? Is that essential? And a lot of the decisions aren't up to us. They're not up to us as individuals. They're up to what our government in this case says, this is essential, this isn't. So that's what we're going to dive into next time. But we really appreciate you guys tuning in. If you have any comments, hit us up. Let us know how you're thinking, how you're doing to get through this, because we love to hear from you. It helps us get through when we can connect with other people. So the more connection, I think, the better.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Have a great weekend, good week. We're going into week 4, so hope everyone hangs in there. Stay strong, stay well, get some sun. Have a great day.